Very good morning to all of you, my friends. Welcome back. I hope you guys are doing good. And further, I hope that you guys were thorough with the questions of activity based costing. So, let's start with a new chapter that is cost sheet. It's a very easy chapter from examination point of view. Yes, sometimes examiner do ask questions on cost sheet, but yes, the weightage is not that much. But yes, sometimes examiner do ask questions on cost sheet. So let's start with this chapter cost sheet. When talking about this cost sheet, what is cost sheet? What is cost sheet? Cost sheet is a statement. What is cost sheet? Cost sheet is a statement wherein we systematically record all the costs that are in relation to manufacture of a product. What is cost sheet? Cost sheet is a statement wherein we systematically record all the cost wherein we systematically record all the costs that are incurred in manufacturing a product. एक प्रोडक्ट बनाने में जो भी खर्चे होते हैं उसको हम कॉस्ट शीट में सिस्टमेटिकली रिकॉर्ड करते हैं. दैट इज कॉस्ट शीट. Now, when talking about cost, cost can be classified in two parts, that is direct cost and indirect cost. Direct cost and indirect cost. When talking about direct cost, the cost that is directly attributable in manufacturing a product is direct cost. When talking about indirect cost, the cost that play a supporting role in manufacturing a product. I'll be discussing this with the help of an examples also. So when talking about direct cost, the cost that is directly attributable the cost that is directly attributable in manufacturing a product is direct cost. When talking about indirect cost, the cost that play a supporting role when talking about direct cost can be classified in three parts. Direct material, direct labor, and direct expenses. Further, when talking about indirect cost also, it can be classified in three parts. Indirect material, indirect labor, and indirect expenses. So I repeat again, guys, we are starting with this chapter, cost sheet. Cost sheet is a statement wherein we systematically record all the costs that are incurred in relation to manufacture of a product. When talking about cost, the cost can be classified in two parts, that is direct cost and indirect cost. When talking about direct cost, the cost that is directly attributable in manufacturing a product is direct cost. And when talking about indirect cost, the cost that play a supporting role in manufacturing a product is indirect cost. Further, direct costs can be classified in three parts, that is direct material, direct labor, and direct expenses. Indirect cost also, it is indirect material, indirect labor, indirect expenses. If you guys have any doubts or queries, you guys can please post your queries. Waiting for your queries, guys. Any queries till now? One second, guys. Now, let me discuss this concept with the help of few examples. That is, what is the difference between direct and indirect material, direct and indirect labor, and direct and indirect expenses. So let me discuss this with the help of few examples. So let's say I'm the manufacturer of, let's say, shirts. I'm the manufacturer of shirts. Now, what the shirt is made up of, what? Fabric. So fabric is what? My direct materials. This is the major ingredient in manufacturing shirt, that is fabric. So fabric is what? My direct material. Now let's say these shirts are stitched in machine, and for the smooth functioning of machine, we need some sort of lubricating oil and grease. So this lubricating oil and grease is nowhere present in my final product, but yes, for the smooth functioning of machine, I'm using this material. So that material is known as indirect material. Another example, another example, let's say I'm the manufacturer of cakes and pastries, or we can say bakery biscuits. Now, these cake, pastries, and bakery biscuits are made up of what? Flour, we can say whipped cream, butter, flavors, whatever it is. So, these are the major ingredients. So, this is what, see, these cakes and pastries are made up of what? Flour, yeast, flour, yeast, bread, whatever it is. So, these are the major ingredients. So, we call it as direct material. Now, to maintain the hygiene standards, my chef is using, we can say, chef cap, aprons, and hand gloves. Now, this apron, hand gloves, chef cap are nowhere present in the final product. But yes, to maintain the hygiene standard, we have to use this material. So that material that is used to maintain the hygiene standard is we call as the indirect material. If you guys have any doubts, yes, sugar, eggs are direct material. Rohan, yes, the buttons are present in the final product, so that is direct material. Can anyone give me some other examples of direct and indirect material? Waiting for your examples, guys. I want you guys to actively participate in the session. Plus, whatever the queries you have, you guys can post your queries also. Waiting for a few examples from your end. Cotton, yes, cotton is a direct material in manufacturing clothes. Very good. Anyone else? That is direct material. But what about indirect material, Rohan, Vishal, Almas? Very good. Coal is indirect material, Kinnari. Very good. Anyone else with any examples? Machinery lubricating oil, I've already mentioned. Maintenance charges is not direct material, Sunil Kumar. Actually, these are the dyeing machine, Kinnari, and the dyeing machine are basically the assets, not direct or indirect material. Again, Rohan Sao, I'm talking about material, not wages. Apart from this, the stationery or postage, telegram, whatever that is used in my factory is also my indirect material. So, in short, the whatever the major ingredients to manufacture a product, that is direct material, and the material that play a supporting role. Say, I have received an example that is coal to iron the clothes. So, that coal that is used to iron the clothes is what we can say indirect material. So this is what about direct and indirect material. Now, let me discuss the concept of direct and indirect labor. Now, again, the same example. Let's say I'm the manufacturer of shirts and I have appointed a team of 100 workers. They are stitching my shirt and making it and converting it into the final product. So, whatever the amount that are paid to the workers who are actually stitching the shirt or who are actually manufacturing the shirt is what my direct labor. Now, let's say to supervise the work done by this 100 workers, I have kept 4 supervisors. They are not directly involved in manufacturing a product, but yes, they are supervising the work done by my ultimate workforce. So the amount paid to the labor supervisor is what my indirect labor. I repeat again, guys, the 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 persons who are actually manufacturing the shirt. So the amount paid to them is what? Direct labor. And let's say I have kept supervisor who are supervising the work done by my labor, who are supervising the work done by my labor. So the amount paid to the supervisor is what my indirect labor. Another example, let's say I have kept a watchman. I have kept a watchman at the factory gate. Again, that watchman is nowhere involved in manufacturing a shirt. But yes, for security purpose, I need a watchman. So the salary paid to watchman is what? My indirect labor. Another example, let's say I've kept 2, 3 housekeeping staff in the factory to maintain the cleanliness of the factory. Again, very important, guys. The amount paid to the housekeeping staff is what my indirect labor. If you guys have any doubts or queries, you guys can please post your queries. Direct material and direct labor is done. Indirect material, indirect labor is done. Waiting for your queries, guys. Anyone with any doubts or queries? See, Sanudhar, the crude oil is the major ingredient in manufacturing petrol, diesel, gasoline. So that crude oil is what my direct material. Yes, Rohan, tell me. Admin sir, you can unmute Rohan.
Sir, if something is used in a negligible or a very small quantity in some product, so can it be said as indirect?
Yes, 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 yes. Again, the value and the quantity is important.
Sir, like the button and in the furniture, that khila, can we say
Yes,
that
yes, these are
an
the
indirect?
spare parts. So we can call it as indirect material also.
Okay, sir.
I'm not sure about this industry, Boomer. I have no idea about, see, the material, direct material and indirect material may vary from industry to industry. So, anyways, this is all what about direct material, direct labor, and indirect labor. Now, when talking about direct expenses, apart from direct material and direct labor, the expenses that are directly attributable in manufacturing a product are direct expenses. I repeat again, apart from direct material and direct labor, the other expenses that are directly attributable in manufacturing a product are direct expenses. We can say the utilities such as power and fuel. Apart from this, let's say if I'm paying any royalty or any technical know-how fees for manufacturing a product, plus apart from this, if we are paying fees for any technical assistance or if we are amortizing any molds or dies, these can be classified under a direct expenses. So when talking about direct expenses, these are the few examples. There are few more examples that are given in the study material, so you can refer study material. When talking about indirect expenses, it's a long and never ending list. So जो कुछ भी कहीं पे भी cover नहीं होता है, the expenses which cannot be classified under these three, and indirect material and indirect labor will be classified under indirect expenses. It can be rent, it can be depreciation, it can be electricity, it can be anything. So वो खर्चे जो किसी में cover नहीं होते हैं will be classified under indirect expenses. So this is all what about direct and indirect cost. Now, this indirect cost is what we call as overheads. You guys must have learned overheads. So indirect खर्चे जो भी होते हैं, we call them as overheads. Now, these indirect costs are also incurred at three stages. I repeat again, these indirect costs are also incurred at three stages. That is at factory, admin, or we can say office, and the third one is selling and distribution. So these indirect costs are also incurred at three stages, or we can say the overheads are also incurred at three stages. That is factory, office and admin, and selling and distribution. So I'm writing few examples for your reference. So when talking about at factory level, it can be indirect wages. It can be factory rent. It can be depreciation on factory, depreciation on machinery. It can be depreciation on factory building. When talking about the indirect costs that are incurred at the admin and office level, it can be postage and telegram. It can be salaries, audit fees. It can be electricity. It can be depreciation on office furniture, depreciation on computers. It can be anything. So the expenses that are incurred at the office level will be classified under administration or office overheads. Further, selling and distribution, again, it will be carriage outward. It can be depreciation on delivery vans. Again, packing cost for redistribution. Salesman salary or commission, etc. So these are the few examples of factory, admin and office, and selling and distribution overheads. If you guys have any doubts till now, you guys can please post your query. So let me summarize what I have discussed till now for the students who have joined a bit late. So we have started with cost sheet. Cost sheet एक statement है जिसमें हम systematically record करते हैं जो भी खर्चे होने वाले हैं in relation to manufacture a product. Further, when talking about cost, cost can be classified in two parts, that is direct and indirect cost. The cost that is directly attributable in manufacturing a product is direct cost. The cost that play a supporting role in manufacturing a product is indirect cost. Further, direct cost can be classified in three parts, that is direct material, direct labor, and direct expenses. And further, indirect cost can be also be classified under three parts, that is indirect material, indirect labor, and indirect expenses. So indirect cost is all what we call as overheads, and these overheads are incurred at three stages. That is at factory, office and administration, and selling and distribution. So indirect material can be at factory also, office also, and selling and distribution also. Indirect labor can also be at factory, office, and sales and distribution level, and indirect expenses can also be at all the three levels. Please copy this explanation. Again, the concept part, I request you guys to please note it down. The solutions of the questions, what I'm discussing, you can take the screenshot. I'll be discussing this part in detail, Rohan Sahu, don't worry. I request you guys to please copy this explanation. Yes, Shivam, insurance. See, if the insurance premium is paid on factory building, or we can say on machinery, it will form part of factory overheads. If it is paid on insurance on delivery vehicles, then we can say it is on selling and distribution. And if only insurance is given, you can classify it under general administration overheads. Rent, again, if you are paying rent related to factory, it will be under factory. If you are paying rent related to office, it will go under office. And if you are paying any rent related to sales and distribution, then it will go under sales and distribution. Anyone else with any doubts or queries? Shivam, Rohan, hopefully your query is resolved. Miss Uma, sir, then except the person involved in factory, all employees are indirect labor like manager, CEO, or admin. Yes, Uma, well said. So the amount paid to the workers who are actually manufacturing the product is direct labor. And rest, the amount paid to any other staff is weekly. We can classify it under indirect labor. Good morning, Ritki. Anyone having any doubts? Uma, Sanu, Ritki. Pawan Kumar, what you want me to explain in Hindi? I've already discussed in Hindi and English both. For this, you have to learn accounting standard 19, that is operating and financial lease. Financial lease is more or less like interest, and operating is lease is actually the rent. Rohan. So financial lease, that is the financial lease is what we call as the interest part. In financial lease, the interest part will be taken separately in cost sheet. And if it is operating lease, then whatever the rent is, we will be considering, if it is related to factory, then factory, office, then office, and selling and distribution, then selling and distribution. Anyone else with any doubts or queries, guys? Waiting for your queries. I hope your query is resolved. Rohan Sahu, for better understanding, yes, you have to refer Accounting Standard 19. Yes, Vishal. Any doubts? Saroj, Sejal, Julie, Almas, Prem Kumar, Manjari, Mahalakshmi, Rohan, Shreya, Gurmeet, Pawan Kumar, Tanu. Anyone having any doubts? See, herein also in this chapter, the concepts are very less. So, I mean, as such, we'll be discussing with the statement of cost. So, if you guys have any doubts or queries, you guys can please post your query. Yash, anyone having any doubts? So, now let's start with the preparation of statement of cost, or we can say the cost sheet. It will form part of cost, Silesh. Let me complete the discussion. Let me complete the explanation, then I'll be addressing this query of yours. So let's start with cost sheet. So let's start with cost sheet now. First, we will start with opening stock of raw material. Opening stock of raw material, we will add purchase of raw material, and we will subtract closing stock of raw material. This is how we will get raw material consumed. So, very important, guys. If direct material is given in the question straight away, then take direct material. But let's say no information is given in the question as regards direct material, but information is given in the question as regards opening and closing stock of raw material. then yes, opening stock, add purchase, less closing stock. This is how we will get raw material consumed. Now, when talking about purchase of raw material, whatever the cost that are incurred till the factory gate will form part of purchase cost of raw material. I repeat again, guys, not only the purchase price that is paid to the supplier, whatever the costs that are incurred till the factory gate will form part of purchase cost of raw material. So let's say I'm the manufacturer of wooden furniture and I am importing teak wood from Indonesia. So the amount paid to the supplier will form part of purchase price. Apart from this, whatever the costs that are incurred from Indonesia till my factory gate will form part of purchase cost of raw material. So apart from the price that is paid to the supplier, we can say the purchase price or purchase cost. There are many other costs that are incurred in relation to purchase of raw material and until the factory gate that will form part of purchase cost. So we can see the purchase cost. We do subtract trade discount, but we will write first of all the items that need to be added. So we can say if we are paying any sort of carriage inward, or we can say freight inward, it will be added to the purchase cost of raw material. Apart from this, any octroi that is paid. See, right now the concept of an octroi is removed because after introduction of GST, the concept of octroi is removed. But still there are few questions wherein they have mentioned octroi. So on a safer side, I'm just writing it for your reference. If you see octroi, it will be added to the purchase cost. Apart from this, if any transit insurance, if any paid, it will be added. GST, if it is paid, it will be added. If the duty credit is available, then again it will be deducted. Apart from this, any custom duty, if it is any paid, it will be added. If there is any sort of commission that is paid on purchase of goods, then a purchase of raw material, then again it will be added. Further, any sort of trade discount, it will be deducted. Apart from this, GST, if duty credit available, it will be deducted. Custom duty, if the duty drawback is available, it will be deducted. Further, any sort of grant or subsidy that is received on purchase of material, that will also be deducted. Subsidy from government, it will be deducted. Apart from this, very important, guys, let's say during transit, certain percentage of raw material is damaged. I have given this example, same example in the material costing also, wherein let's say I'm the manufacturer of potato chips from potatoes, and during loading unloading certain percentage of material damage hota hi hai. We can't avoid this. So that damaged material is scrapped in the market at a very nominal price. So if any scrap value is realized on sale of raw material that is damaged or spoiled during the transit, again, so that scrap value that is realized will also be deducted. So the final figure what we are getting will be what? My purchase. If you guys have any doubts or queries in this part, you guys can please post your queries. Very important, guys. All these will form part of cost statement only. I repeat again, ये सारे item जो है, see, both the options are correct that you can put it in the working note also, you can put it in the cost sheet. But yes, it is advisable to put all these items in the cost sheet, and this is how you will get the purchase price of raw material. If you guys have any doubts or queries, you guys can please post. I have discussed this cost of container, all these points in detail in material costing. Yes, Rohan, tell me. Admin sir, can you please unmute Rohan? Admin sir? Yes, Rohan, tell me. Yes, Rohan. Okay, Shilesh Parida, I have already discussed that is what is returnable container, non-returnable container in material costing. Shivam, when talking about the duty drawback, see, whatever the duty that is paid on import of goods, if we are getting any sort of credit that is paid on import of goods, so that if the credit is available, we call it as duty drawback. So जैसे जीएसटी में जीएसटी क्रेडिट होता है वैसे कस्टम ड्यूटी में ड्यूटी ड्रॉबैक होता है.
Sir,
Okay, 1 second. Yes, Rohan, tell me.
sir, in case of scrap value realized, whether we need to um, सर
Whether
उसमें
we need
हमको
to
सर उसमें हमको ये देखना पड़ता है कि नॉर्मल है कि एबनॉर्मल.
see, it's only normal. Abnormal तो कुछ भी आएगा ही नहीं. See, further I repeat again, this cost sheet is an estimated data, not the actual data. अब so generally हर प्रोडक्ट का ना एक सर्टेन परसेंटेज ऑफ, जैसे काफी रॉ मटेरियल्स ऐसे होते हैं जिसके अंदर कुछ ना कुछ परसेंटेज वेस्टेज होता है एंड वी हैव टू सेल दैट. जैसे कि मैंने आपको बताया था कि पोटैटो इंडस्ट्री में वेर इन आई डू मैन्युफैक्चर पोटैटो चिप्स फ्रॉम पोटैटो. सो लोडिंग अनलोडिंग में कुछ पोटैटोज खराब हो जाते हैं, तो वो जो खराब हुए हुए पोटैटो जो है अगर हम मार्केट में सेल करते हैं और उससे कुछ भी नॉमिनल प्राइस रिकवर होता है, that amount that is recovered will be deducted, and it's only the normal loss, not the abnormal loss. Abnormal loss cannot be predicted, and this is an estimated data, not the actual data. I hope it is clear.
Yes, sir.
Perfect. So again, cost sheet is an estimated data. Abnormal loss तो जब actually होगा तब पता चलेगा. Okay. Bhuma sir, regarding GST, if there is the credit is available, see, Bhuma, I have discussed this part in detail, but again, just for your reference, अगर हम GST पे करते हैं और उसका credit available है तो better ignore GST. Neither to add nor to deduct. But if the GST credit is not available, then the GST paid on purchases will be added. I hope it is clear. Bhuma. Miss Bhuma, any other doubts? I have discussed this part in detail in material costing. Anyone else with any doubts? Yes, sir. If GST no credit, we will add. If the credit is available, then better ignore. See, Buma, if the GST credit is available, then better ignore GST. Neither to, I mean, ना तो आपको add करना है और ना आपको less करना है. But if the GST credit is not available, simply add GST. Anyone else with any doubts or queries, guys? Rohan, Buma, hopefully your query is resolved. Pawan, what is the query? Can you please? Yes, I have covered all these things in detail in material costing. Now, guys, I request you guys to please copy this explanation because I'll be erasing this part. So I request you guys to please copy this part. Giving you 2 minutes time. So please copy this explanation. Again, all this will form part of cost sheet that is recommended. So no need to prepare working note. Better just write it down in the cost sheet itself. It will form part of material cost only, Silesh. Just giving you 2 more minutes time. I request you guys to please copy this explanation. So this is all what about direct material. See, for the actual expenses incurred, we do prepare trading P&L. Rohan. Now, so if the direct material is given straight away, write direct material. If the direct material is not given straight away, and if the information is given as regards opening and closing stock of raw material or the purchase of raw material, then we will calculate raw material consumed. So this is my direct material. This is my direct. This is my direct material. Now we'll write direct labor and direct expense. Direct labor and all the direct expenses. So the total of these three, that is material, labor, and expenses, will be what? My prime cost. Yes, Prem Kumar. Now, one more point, guys. When talking about direct labor also, guys, very important. Apart from the wages paid, there are many other benefits or allowances that are given to the labor. So everything will form part of direct labor cost. Sorry, guys. So apart from the direct wages paid, there are many other allowances or incentive or I mean any sort of benefits in the form of bonus or whatever it is that will also form part of we can say the labor cost. So we can say the wages that is paid in cash plus any sort of allowances bonus, or we can say incentive, or we can say perquisites. Apart from this, we can say contribution towards provident fund and employee state insurance. So all will form part of direct labor. So what are allowances and perquisite, that will be discussed in detail in income tax under the head salaries. So you can refer that session. So in short, when talking about allowances, these are the monetary payments. Just for your reference, these are the monetary payments that are given to the workers apart from the wages that are paid. When talking about the perquisites, see, perquisites are the benefits or amenities that are given by the company to their employees. Either we can say the medical facility, or we can say the housing accommodation, the food facility, the education facility for their children. So if these benefits are provided by the company to their employees, all will form part of direct labor cost. If you guys have any doubts or queries, you guys can please post. So apart from the wages that are paid in the cash, any sort of allowances, bonus, or any sort of facilities or benefits that are provided by the company to their employees, we call them as perquisites, all will form part of direct labor cost. If you guys have any doubts or queries, you guys can please post. Further, I request you guys to please copy this explanation. Only employer contribution. Yes, my dear. I request you guys to please copy this explanation. Not only the wages that are paid in the cash, apart from wages, if any information is given as regards these points, I'm writing this for your reference, employer contribution. Again, it is employee state insurance. It is just like PF that is given by the company to its employees. So this is all what about prime cost, that is direct material, direct labor, and direct expenses. The total will be what? My prime cost. Now, in this prime cost, we will add all the factory overheads. In this prime cost, we will add all the factory overheads, or we can say work overheads. If we add all the factory overheads or work overheads, we will get gross factory oblique work cost. So in prime cost, if we add all the factory overheads, we will get gross factory oblique work cost. Now, in this, when talking about what all are factory overheads, I have discussed this part in detail. Now, further in this gross factory oblique work cost, if we make adjustments of opening and closing work in progress, If we add opening work in progress, further we will subtract closing work in progress. We'll get the final factory cost or work cost. So very simple, guys. In prime cost, we have to add all the factory overheads. जो भी factory level पे खर्च हुआ है, we will add it. So the total what we will get is what we call as gross factory cost or work cost. And in this gross factory cost or work cost, if we make adjustments of opening and closing work in progress, we will get the final factory cost or work cost. If you guys have any doubts in this part, you guys can please post your queries. Now, guys, after calculating the factory cost and work cost, there are few items that need to be added to calculate the cost of production. So very important points, guys. First one is quality control cost. Second one is research and development cost. Third one is administration overhead related to production. So first one is quality control cost. Second one is research and development cost. Third one is administration overhead related to production. Further, first point, second point. Further, we have to deduct credit for recoveries. And we have to add primary packing cost. So first point, quality control cost. Second is research and development cost. Third is administration overhead related to production. Further, we have to subtract credit for recoveries and we have to add primary packing cost. So after making these adjustments in factory cost and work cost, we will get cost of production. After making all these adjustments, first quality control cost, second research and development cost, third administration overhead related to production. Thereafter, we will subtract credit for recoveries and we will add primary packing cost. So after these adjustments in the factory cost or work cost, we will get the cost of production. Now, what are these items? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Let's start one by one. Now, when talking about quality control cost, whatever the cost that are incurred in relation to quality control of a product will form part of quality control. Let's say we are using some kind of material to test the quality of product. जैसे हम लोग कोई मटेरियल यूज करते हैं which is actually to test the quality of the product, so that material is what it will form part of quality control cost. Apart from this, we have appointed few staff to maintain the quality standard, to check the quality of product. So the amount paid to that staff will form part of quality control quality control cost. Now the next one is research and development cost. Again, if we are conducting any sort of research or development for improvement of product or for improvement of production process, so the cost that will be incurred will form part of research and development cost. Again, let's say we have kept few staff Further, if we are using any sort of material for research and development, or if we are using any assets for research and development, so the depreciation on the same will form part of research and development cost. So quality control cost, research and development cost is done. Then whatever the administration overheads that are incurred in relation to production, we can say the salaries paid to the production control manager will form part of administration overhead related to production. Again, so whatever the administration overhead that are directly related to the production will form part of administration overhead related to production. Now the next point is credit for recoveries. When talking about credit for recoveries, see, again, we have deducted, very important guys, we have deducted that scrap value realized on sale of raw material from the cost of material. So, if any scrap value is realized on sale of material, it will form part of purchase cost of raw material. But when talking about credit for recoveries, one second, guys. When talking about the credit of for recoveries, it means what? The amount realized on sale of the waste that is generated from the manufacturing process. That is, see, agar raw material directly kharab ho gaya hai, तो amount realized on sale of that material will be deducted from the purchase price of raw material. But very important, अगर manufacturing process से कुछ waste generate हुआ है, we call it as byproduct. So the amount realized on sale of byproduct is what we call as the credit for recovery. So when we can, in simple words, we can say amount realized on sale of byproduct. So when talking about credit for recovery, it means what? The amount realized on sale of byproduct. And when talking about the byproduct, the incidental waste that is generated during the course of manufacturing the main product. Main product manufacture करते वक्त अगर कुछ waste generate होता है और उस waste को हम लोग अगर market में sell करते हैं, so that will be basically the amount realized will be deducted here. We call it as the credit for recoveries. But अगर कुछ raw material is scrap out हुआ है, so we can say that it will be deducted from the purchase price of raw material. So when talking about byproduct, what is byproduct? The incidental waste generated during the course of manufacturing. So this is all what about credit for recoveries. So quality control cost done, research and development cost done. Thereafter, administration overhead related to production. The third point is done. The fourth point is credit for recovery. That is done. Now, the next is primary packing cost. Now, when talking about packing cost, again, it can be classified in two parts. That is primary packing cost and we can say packing for distribution. Or we can say secondary packing cost. When talking about primary packing cost, it will form part of cost of production. And when talking about secondary packing cost, it will form part of selling and distribution cost. Now, what's the difference between primary and secondary packing cost? So when talking about primary packing cost, let me discuss this with the help of an example. So let's say I'm the manufacturer of, let's say, mango juice. Now these mango juice are packed in Tetra packs. Now, without these Tetra packs or bottles, I can't sell this product. So the product is not marketable without these Tetra packs, or we can say plastic bottle. So the cost of that Tetra pack or that plastic bottle is what my primary packing cost. उसके बगैर product को मैं end user को बेच ही नहीं सकता. So the cost of that Tetra pack is what my primary packing cost. The cost of that plastic bottle in which the orange juice or mango juice is pegged is what my primary packing cost. Now, when talking about the secondary packing cost, let's say 50 bottles are packed in a container. So that cost of container is what my secondary packing cost. If you guys have any doubts or queries, you guys can please post. So the cost of Tetra packs or plastic bottle, primary packing cost. The cost of container wherein 50 bottles are packed together is what my secondary packing cost. Further, I request you guys to please copy this explanation, giving you 2 minutes time. In the meanwhile, whatever the queries you have, you guys can please post your queries. Giving you 2 minutes time. I'll be discussing this part in detail in joint and byproduct. But in short, we can say the waste that is generated during the course of manufacturing a product is byproduct. And if byproduct is sold at a very nominal price, that is what we call as the amount realized on, or we can say the credit for recoveries, Rohan. I hope it is clear, Rohan. See, Tanu, when talking about primary packing cost, see, it will form part of cost of production. ये यहाँ पे आएगा. And when talking about packing for redistribution or secondary packing cost, it will form part of selling and distribution cost. Yes, both the packing cost will form part of cost sheet, but ये जो है कॉस्ट ऑफ प्रोडक्शन में आएगा और ये जो है सेलिंग एंड डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन ओवरहेड्स में आएगा. Giving you 2 minutes time, please copy this explanation. Admin sir, are you there? Admin sir. So there are few students who are asking that how to join the Zoom meeting over the portal. Can you please reply to them? Huh? No, there are few students who are posting the query over the portal that how to join Zoom meeting. Acha, for this you need to get registered. And where the Zoom link is available? So can you please share the Zoom link for the students? Those who are registered can at least join over Zoom. Please share the Zoom link for the students. Huh? Rohan Sao, credit means the amount realized. Admin sir, how you will share? Please share. That's okay. If they are registered, then they can join, na? Because they don't know how to join over Zoom. अच्छा भेज दिया है. Okay, sir. Yeah. Anyways, guys, so we are done with the cost of production. I hope this part is clear to all. Rohan, hopefully your query is resolved. Tanu, Silesh, hopefully your query is resolved now. Silesh, any doubts? So we are done with the calculation of cost of production. Silesh, hopefully your query is resolved. Rajita and Aditya, that link is already shared. So let's proceed further. Now, after calculating the cost of production, we will make adjustments of opening and closing stock of finished goods. So we will add opening stock of finished goods and we will subtract closing stock of finished goods. So after making these adjustments, we will get cost of goods sold. So in cost of production, we have to make adjustments of opening and closing stock of finished goods. So after adjusting the same, we will get cost of goods sold. Now, one more point, very important, guys. When talking about the value of closing stock of finished goods, it will always be valued at cost of production. See, there are two terms, opening stock of finished goods and closing stock of finished goods. The value of opening stock of finished goods, this value will always be given in the question. But when talking about the value of closing stock of finished goods, so closing stock of finished goods will be valued at cost of production. क्लोजिंग स्टॉक ऑफ फिनिश गुड्स का वैल्यूएशन किस पे होगा? कॉस्ट ऑफ प्रोडक्शन पे. Let me discuss this concept with the help of an example wherein let's say units manufactured, let's say 10,000 units. Units sold, let's say 8,000 units are sold. So closing stock is 2,000 units. Further, let's say the cost of production is given, that is, let's say, 2 lakh rupees. So we can say cost of production per unit will be how much? 2 lakh divided by 10,000. So that is rupees 20 per unit. Now we can say the value of closing stock of finished goods will be how much? That is 20 into how many units? 2,000 units. So this will be 40,000. So this is how the value of closing stock of finished goods will be done. Wherein I repeat again, the closing stock of finished goods will be valued at cost of production. I have discussed this with the help of an example. Assuming there is no opening stock, that is unit manufactured are 10,000, units sold are 8,000. So we are left out with 2,000 units in stock and the cost of production is 2 lakh. So 2 lakh divided by 10,000, the cost per unit is rupees 20. So when talking about the value of closing stock of finished goods, 2,000 units into 20, that is 40,000 will be the value that will be deducted while calculating cost of goods sold. If you guys have any doubts or queries, you guys can please post your query. Thanks, Shivam. I request you guys to please copy this explanation. Anyone having any doubts or queries, you guys can please post your queries. Waiting for your queries. I request you guys to please post your query. Anyone having any doubts, I request further to please copy this explanation. Now, after calculating the cost of goods sold, we will add the following items. See, the general administration overhead. See, administration overhead related to production is already considered while calculating cost of production. So apart from this, the general administration overhead that are incurred at the office level will be considered after the cost of goods sold. So general administration overheads all the selling overheads, all the distribution overheads. All the administration overhead, selling overhead, and distribution of. One second, there is a query. Opening stock of. The value of closing stock. See, there will be. See again, Yashwani. See, the value of opening stock will not affect the value of closing stock, but yes, it will affect the cost of production. So opening stock has nothing to do with closing stock valuation. Further, we will add one more item, that is interest cost. So all the general administration overhead, all the selling overhead, all the distribution overhead, and the interest cost. So after making these adjustments in the cost of goods sold, we will get cost of sales. So once the cost of sales is calculated, this is the final figure. We can say the total cost of the product. So this is how, I mean, the cost sheet is prepared. If you guys have any doubts or queries, you guys can please post. Those who want to take the screenshot or those who want to copy, I mean, I suggest you guys to better take the screenshot because it's a bit lengthy statement. So those who have any queries or doubts, you guys can please post your queries. So let's summarize what I have discussed till now. The cost statement, or we can say the cost sheet, will start from opening stock of raw material. We will add purchase cost of raw material and we will subtract closing stock of raw material. This is how we will get raw material consumed. In raw material consumed, we will add the direct labor cost and direct expenses. We will get prime cost. Now in prime cost, we will add all the factory overheads. All the overheads that are incurred at the factory level, we will get the gross factory cost or work cost. One second, guys. All the factory cost or work, all the factory overheads will be added. We will get the gross factory cost or work cost. Now, in this gross factory cost or work cost, if we make adjustments of opening and closing work in progress, we will get the factory cost or work cost. Now, after calculating the factory cost or work cost, we will make adjustments of few items, that is quality control cost, research and development cost, administration overhead related to production, primary packing cost. We will add all these items and we will subtract credit for recoveries. So the final figure what we will get is the cost of production. Now in cost of production, we will make adjustments of opening and closing stock of finished goods. We will get cost of goods sold. In cost of goods sold, we will add all the general administration overhead, selling overhead, distribution overhead, and the interest cost. We will get the cost of sales. If you guys have any doubts or queries, you guys can please post your queries. Those who want to take the screenshot, Rohan Saw, the administration overhead that are directly related to production will form part of cost of production. And general administration overhead will not form part of cost of production, it will form part of cost of sales. I request you guys to please take the screenshot. Edwin sir, can you please unmute Kinnari? Yes, Kinnari, tell me.
Good morning, sir.
Very good morning, my dear.
Sir, I got the concept of cost sheet, and I just wanted to ask you related to the previous chapters that we can get the worksheets on the chapters so that we can practice it more and more.
You want practice questions, right?
Yes, sir. For the previous chapters also, and for the cost sheet, other questions we apart from what you will be teaching,
Okay.
exam oriented specifically.
Pardon?
Exam oriented, like the
Okay,
questions which are
I'll be
expected in exams.
uploading the worksheet soon. Don't worry. For material, activity based costing and cost sheet and the coming chapters, I'll upload the worksheet very soon. Don't worry.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah. Anything else?
No, sir. I got the concept. Thank you. It was
Okay.
I had many doubts in this, but yeah, many got cleared today.
Okay. Great.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Now, guys, so as I said, whatever the cost, जो भी cost लगने वाली एक particular product को manufacture करने के लिए, it will be systematically arranged in cost sheet. But there are certain items that are not to be considered while preparing cost sheet. Certain items not to be considered while preparing cost sheet. So, I've already discussed this part in detail. Let me complete this explanation first. So there are certain items that are to be ignored, not to be considered while preparing cost sheet. Can you guys give me a few examples? Waiting for your answers. I just want few inputs from your end also. So can you guys tell me few items that are not to be considered while preparing cost sheet? Interest, I have already taken in cost of sales. So, okay, I have got the first answer, that is abnormal loss. Abnormal loss or abnormal gain. I'm adding this point, abnormal gain, Silesh. Yes, waiting for your answers, everyone. Miss Dubey, Ananya, Harsha, Nisi. Yashwani, Rajita, Aditya, Uma, Sejal, Sanu, Ritki. Waiting for your answers, guys. Okay. So fines and penalties. Very good. So again, any sort of fines and penalties is covered under abnormal costs. Still, fines slash penalties. One student mentioned bad debts. Apart from this, interest or dividend received, dividend paid, or proposed dividend. Anyone else with any other answers? Office expenses of cash discount, very good. Office expenses will form part of general administration overhead. Tanu. Capital nature. See, Shivam has posted any sort of expenses in nature of, capital expenditure in short. So all sort of capital cost. So we can say purchase or sale of assets or investments. Further, if any sort of assets or liabilities are given in the question, we have to ignore. Assets or liabilities are the items that appear in balance sheet, not in cost statement. So if plant and machinery is given in the question, then you have to ignore. You have to take only the depreciation on plant and machinery, not the plant and machinery. Okay, so let me check. Very good, Rohan. Profit oblique loss on sale of assets or investments. Anyone with any other item? Everyone, guys, I want you guys to actively participate in the session. Yes, Harshada, Miss Dubey, Shreya, Bharat, Vishal, Sunil Kumar, Silesh, Saroj, Kinari, Ananya, Almas, Naina, Sejal, Miss Tanmoji, waiting for your answers, guys. Whatever running in your mind, do speak up. Very good, Kinari. आप जितना participate करेंगे, the better you will be with the concepts. So just try to participate as much as possible. Warehouses charges will form part of. So Rohan Sahu, very good. Goodwill, written off. Very good, Tanu. Income tax or advance tax, or we can say provision for tax. We can say any sort of provisions or transfer to reserves. I want answers from everyone. Very good, Almas. Donations. Yes, rest everyone. Waiting for your answers. 1 second, Miss Dubey, Shrikant, just give me a minute. You can say Sejal. Yashwani, very good. Sejal, yes, correct answer. See, we can say preliminary expenses written off. See, earlier the interest cost was not earlier. The interest cost never used to form part of cost sheet, but yes, after amendments, interest cost will separately form part of, will be shown separately in the cost sheet, and it will form part of cost of sales. So enough of discussion on these points. Yes, Bhuma, you can say incentives. Yes, if it is given to the labor, then it will form part of cost sheet. Nana, very good. Anyways, Bhuma, yes, drawings from capital. Again, it will form part of balance sheet. So as I said, any sort of assets and liabilities, if it is given in the question, it will not form part of cost sheet. Rohan, hopefully your queries is resolved. Redemption expenses of shares and debentures, very good, it is correct. Goodwill patent return of Rohan, very good, it is correct. Anyone else? Bank charges, Saroj Oja, yes, it is correct. Warehousing charges, it will form part of cost sheet. Anyone else with any doubts or queries? Sejal, Dharani, Yashwani, Rajita, any doubts? Aditya, Uma, any doubts? Ritki, any doubts? It will form part, Shivam, uh, it will form part of general administration overhead. Preliminary expenses, it will not form part of cost sheet. I have already written preliminary expenses written off. Any sort of interest cost will not form part of cost of production, but yes, it will form part of cost of sales. Audit fees, very good. It will form part of general administration overhead, Saroj. General administration overhead, that will form part of cost of sales. So audit fees will form part of general administration overhead. Anything else? Giving you 2 minutes time. Whatever it is running in your mind, just post it. I'll be addressing every query of yours, each and every query. See, somehow, somewhere, some hints will be given in the question. So we can say the amount paid to the production control manager or the production supervisor. Production supervisor will go under under factory cost. But yes, salary paid to production control manager, we can say it will go under administration overhead related to production. Anyone with any doubts or queries, guys? Giving you 2 minutes time. Please post your queries, whatever running in your mind. Any professional fees paid, Harshada, it will come under general administration overhead that will form part of cost of sales. Gross margin, Krishna, I'm not getting. See, very good, Almas, Miss Almas, discount allowed or received. See, discount, in fact, received will be deducted. If it is a trade discount, it will form part of, it will be deducted from the purchase price. Cash discount will not be deducted from the purchase price. And discount allowed will not form part of cost sheet. Very good, Almas. Anyone else with any other? Harshada, I think I've addressed your query. Professional fees will form part of general administration overhead. But if we are paying any fees for technical services or for knowledge transfer or technical knowledge, then it will form part of direct expenses. Preliminary expenses will not form part of cost sheet. That is, we can say, the cost relating to issue of shares and all, nothing to do with cost calculation. So it will not form part of cost sheet. It will not form part of cost sheet. See, herein I have written cost of sales. That is the last point. So it has nothing to do with sales return here. Whatever running in your mind, you can post your queries. The classes are conducted to clear your queries. So that's why I'm just giving you guys time to post whatever that is running in your mind. So fine. This is all what about the concept of cost sheet. We are done with the explanation part. The chapter is very easy and very simple. So let's take a break of 15 minutes. And once I'm back, once after the break, we'll discuss one or two questions, basic question, one advanced question I'll be discussing orally, and then we'll conclude the session. So let's take a break of 15 minutes. Edwin, sir, thank you. Friends, so Same Gupta sir will be assisting you guys and he will be briefing you about few points relating to cost sheet. Sir, please.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Vipin. I was hearing the lecture, and I think some of the students were also saying that some of the concept which was not clear to them is very clear now. Uh, Only few things I would like to tell you from exam point of view, particularly. See, cost sheet almost a regular question in any of the previous question if you see. So one or two things which you should be very, very careful is that there are certain items in cost sheet which may not be having a fixed treatment. For an example, we have seen petrol and diesel. Okay, so petrol and diesel sometimes can be used for the direct manufacturing and it can be included in the prime cost or direct cost. Okay, sometimes it can be used in the factory, so it will be included in the factory cost. So for this kind of items, there is no thumb rule that it will be always be included in prime cost or it will be included only in factory cost. You try to understand the question, and if you are unable to understand the exact treatment, you kindly give a note and accordingly you proceed. So this is number one, that nature of the item you try to understand and then accordingly you can go for the treatment. Number two is that admin overhead. Admin overhead has been bifurcated into two intentionally. Admin overhead can be related to production. So when it will be related to production, it will be included there. And when it will be related to the office and administration, so it will be included there. Okay. So accordingly you make the treatment. So even in the cost sheet format which is given in the study material, if you see, then you will see that admin overhead had been, जिसको हम बोलते हैं कि दो टुकड़ों में बांट दिया, हिंदी में अगर हम कहें तो दो टुकड़ों में आपको ट्रीटमेंट करना है, and according to the nature of the expenses you kindly make that particular treatment. Okay, and after cost of production the unit may change, because you may produce, let's say, 10,000 unit but you may sell 8,000 unit. Okay, even you may sell 11,000 unit more than the production. How come? Because there will be some opening stock. There may be some opening stock. So those kind of small adjustment you try to see, and all kind of treatment. There is a master question given at the end of the study material also, where lot of entries are there. And practice not only you do from the study material, but all the previous RTPs and MTPs. Okay, 3-4 RTPs are already there and many number of MTPs are there. You can practice from all. So you will have a number of questions plus the examination paper. Examination paper and mock test paper you try to practice in exam condition, and accordingly, it will be good practice and you will have a different array of questions. Similarly, case scenario also comes from cost sheet. So cost sheet is a very important chapter from your conceptual understanding also, from the descriptive question also, from MCQ as well as from case scenario. Okay, if you have any particular question, you can always ask. I will be there in the session and I'll be answering your query. Thank you very much, and thank you, Mr. Vipin. You can kindly carry on.
Thank you so much for your time, sir. So guys, we are done with the explanation part of all the concepts. So I request you guys to please open your study material. We'll be discussing two very basic questions. And then as the sir said that there is a very big, there is a question wherein all the points are covered. So we'll try to discuss this orally. So guys, I request you to please open your study material. I'll be discussing one or two questions from study material for your reference. And then we'll be covering that lengthy question. So let's start with illustration number 1. I request you guys to please open your study material page number 6.10. I'll be discussing illustration number 1. So the following data relates to the manufacture of a standard product during the month of April, wherein the raw material cost is given, the direct wages are given, the machine hours worked is given, the machine hour rate is given. So that is basically the factory overheads. administration overhead general are given, selling overheads per unit are given, units produced, units sold are given, and the selling price per unit is given. You are required to prepare a cost sheet of the above showing the cost per unit and the profit for the month. So let's start with this question, illustration number 1. Herein the question is asking us to calculate the cost per unit also. So herein the 2-column table will be prepared. Particulars, total, and per unit. Further, when talking about the units that are manufactured, it's 4,000 units. So let's start with this question. The raw material cost is 1,80,000. Direct wages are given. So herein no information is given in the question as regards opening and closing stock of raw material. Straight away raw material is given, so we will take raw material direct wages. So the raw material cost is 1,80,000, wages is 90,000. Now in this question, no information is given as regards direct expenses. So the total of material and wages will be what? My prime cost. That is 2,70,000. Now let's calculate the per unit amount also. So this is 1,80,000 divided by 4,000. So this will be 45. And this will be 22.5. So this will be 67.5. Now, next is on what about my factory overheads? Herein the information is given that is machine hour worked at 10,000 and the machine rate, machine hour rate per hour is given that is 8. So my factory overheads will be 10,000 into 8. That is 80,000. Divided by 4,000, so this will be 20. Now herein in this question, no information is given as regards No information is given in the question as regards opening and closing stock of work in progress. So this figure, that is the figure that is derived will be what? My net factory cost or work cost. Since no information is given in this question as regards opening and closing work in progress, the figure what we will be getting is what? My factory cost or work cost. Now we have to make adjustments of few items, that is quality control cost, research and development cost, administration overhead related to production, then credit for recoveries and primary packing costs. So let's check these items are given or not. And herein what we can see is that no information is given as regards these items also. So after making adjustments of these items, what we get is what? The cost of production. So since no information is given as regards these items and no information is given as regards opening and closing work in progress, so after adding the factory overheads only, we will be getting directly the cost of production. This will be 3,50,000. And this will be 87.5. Now, as I said, after calculating the cost of production, we have to make adjustments of opening and closing stock of finished goods. So let's see. Herein, no information is given in this question as regards opening stock. But yes, see, it is given in the question that the closing, see, the units manufactured are 4,000 and the units sold are 3,600. It means 400 units are still in stock. We call it as closing stock. So we have to subtract less closing stock. Now see, as I said, closing stock will be valued at cost of production. And the cost of production per unit we have is 87.5. So see, total units manufactured were 4,000 and the units sold were 3,600. So 400 units are still in stock into 87.5. So 35,000 will be what my closing stock. So we will be left out with 3,15,000. Now, till here, we were talking about production that is 4,000 units. Now, of these 4,000 units, 400 units are deducted. So we are left out with only 3,600 units. So अब जो भी per unit calculation होगी वो 3,600 units पे होगी. See, till cost of production will be calculating per unit as per what? Very important, the units manufactured. But after calculating the cost of goods sold, that is cost of production, add opening stock, less closing stock of finished goods, will be getting cost of goods sold. So the cost of goods sold will be calculated on units that are actually sold because we have already made adjustments of opening and closing stock. So here no opening stock is given, the closing stock is given, that is 400 units. So we are left out with 3,600 units that are sold. So the per unit will be calculated only on 3,600 units. Now in this, we will be adding all the general administration, selling and distribution overhead. So see, the administrative overheads are given, that is 35,000. Selling overheads are given rupees 5 per units. So this will be calculated on units that are sold. $18,000. Again, I repeat, from here, 3,600 units will come into picture, not 4,000. Because out of these 4,000 units, 400 units are still in stock and we have deducted their value. So we are left out with the units that are sold, that is 3,600. So the per unit will be calculated on units that are sold. So we are done with all the costs now. So the final figure what we'll be getting is the cost of sales. That is 3,15,000 plus 35,000 plus 18,000. That is 3,68,000 for 3,600 units. If you guys have any doubts or queries, then you guys can please post your queries. Yes, Tanu, whatever you have learned till now is applicable to this chapter also. If you guys have any doubts or queries, you guys can please post your queries, waiting for your queries. It's a very easy question. This question I have discussed just to give you an idea how to apply the concepts to the practical question. Pawan Kumar, closing stock. See, out of 4,000 units manufactured, 3,600 units are sold. So 400 units are basically the closing stock. 4,000 यूनिट हमने मैन्युफैक्चर किए, उसमें से 3,600 हमने बेच दिए, तो 400 यूनिट जो हमारे पास पड़े रहे वो हमारा क्लोजिंग स्टॉक है. And as I said, closing stock is always valued at cost of production. So closing stock is 400 units. My cost of production is 87.5. So this is how I got this amount. Anyone else with any doubts or queries, guys? See, the closing stock, as I said, it will be valued at cost of production only, Tanu. You can write the value for your reference. It's up to you. Let's start with illustration number 2. Okay, guys, for calculating profit, you can the sale value is given. So if we subtract the cost of sales from the sale value, we will get the profit. Let's start with illustration number 2. The following information has been obtained from the records of ABC Corporation for the period 1st June to 30th June, wherein opening stock of raw material, opening and closing stock of raw material, work in progress, and finished goods is given. The purchase of raw material is given, the wages paid is given, the factory overheads are given, the administration overhead related to production, the selling and distribution overhead, and the sales figure is given. You are requested to calculate the raw material consumed, prime cost, factory cost, cost of goods sold, and net profit. Again, a very simple and straight question. So I'll just discuss this question quickly. Herein the question is not asking us to calculate the per unit amount, and further the number of units manufactured is also not given. So we can straight away solve the question. That is opening stock of raw material. We will add purchase of raw material and we will subtract closing stock of raw material. My opening stock is 60. My purchase price is 480. So this will be 4,90,000. This is what my raw material consumed. In raw material consumed, we will add the wages paid, that is 2,40,000. So after adding the wages paid, we will check, are there any direct expenses? No, there are no direct expenses. So we can easily calculate the prime cost, that will be 7 lakh. In this, we will add all the factory overheads. So the factory overheads are given straight away, that is 1 lakh rupees. So we'll add the factory overheads. Since in this question, information is given as regards opening and closing work in progress. So this figure will be what? My gross factory oblique work cost. In this week, we'll make adjustments of opening and closing work in progress. So we will add opening work in progress, that is 12,000, and we will subtract 15,000. So this will be 8,27,000. This will be 8,27,000. Now, after calculating so this figure will be what? My factory oblique work cost. So in this again, quality control cost, research and development cost, administration overhead related to production, primary packing cost, and less credit for recovery. So let's check these items are given or not. So only one item is given, that is administration overhead related to production. So we will add admin overheads related to production. And that is 50,000. So after adding 50,000, we will get 8,77,000 as the cost of production. In this, we will make adjustments of opening and closing stock of finished goods. So add opening finished goods and subtract closing stock of finished goods. And that is 90,000 and 1,10,000. This will be 8,57,000. That is cost of goods sold. Now, after making calculation of cost of goods sold, we will add all the general administration overheads, selling and distribution overheads. So here in general administration overheads are not given. However, selling and distribution overheads are given. That is 25,000. So after adding 25,000, we will get the cost of sales. $8,82,000. Now, the question is also asking us to calculate the net profit. So herein, the sales is given, that is 10 lakh. So my net profit will be what? My balancing figure. That is 1,18,000. So the point is, you have to stick to the concept. You should be thorough with the format. You can solve any question on cost sheet. But yes, it requires a bit of practice. If you guys have any doubts or queries, you guys can please post your queries. The solution is there in the study material, so no need to copy or take the screenshot. The solution is simple and straight. Now, let's start with one more question. I'll be discussing this question orally. That is illustration number 3. So I request you guys to please pay attention. This question covers each and every point in detail. So I request you guys to please pay attention. I'm starting with illustration number 3. The page number is 6.14. So Arnav Spath Udyog Limited has the following expenditures for the year ended 31st March 2023. So the first point is raw material purchased. It will form part of prime cost. GST paid on above is 18% eligible for input tax credit. जीएसटी हमने पे किया और उसके ऊपर इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट अवेलेबल है, सो बेटर ना तो आपको ऐड करना है और ना आपको लेस करना है, बेटर इग्नोर इट. Freight inward, as I said, freight inward will be added to the purchase price of raw material. Very important, guys. Freight inward will be added to the purchase price of raw material. Wages paid to factory workers, it will form part of direct wages. Contribution made towards employees' PF and ESIS, again, it will form part of direct wages. Production bonus paid to factory workers, it will form part of direct wages. Now, royalty paid for production. Very important, guys. Royalty paid for production. It will form part of direct expenses. Amount paid for power and fuel. Amount paid for power and fuel. Again, it will form part of direct expenses. Thereafter, the next point is amount paid for purchase of molds and pattern. The life is 2 years. So 8,96,000 is the total cost. 8,96,000 is the total cost, and it is to be amortized in 2 years. So 4,48,000 will be included in the cost sheet of the current year, and 4,48,000 will be included in the cost sheet of the subsequent year. And further, it will form part of direct expenses. The next is job charges paid to the job worker. Again, it will form part of direct expenses. Now, stores and spares consumed, it will form part of factory overhead. Depreciation on factory building, as the name itself says, factory building. So it will form part of factory overheads. Depreciation on office building, it will form part of general office overheads. Depreciation on plant and machinery, again, the plant and machineries are located in factory. So it will form part of factory overhead. Delivery vehicles, see, it is related to delivery of goods. So it will form part of selling and distribution overhead. So depreciation on delivery vehicle, selling and distribution overheads. Salary paid to supervisors, it will form part of factory overheads. Now, repairs and maintenance paid for plant and machinery, it will form part of factory overhead because plant and machineries are located in the factory. Further, repairs and maintenance for sales office building, it will form part of selling and distribution cost. And repairs and maintenance for the vehicles used by the directors, it will form part of general office and administration overhead. If you guys have any doubts till now, you guys can please post your query. Waiting for your queries, guys. Anyone with any doubts or queries, guys? So next is insurance premium paid for plant machinery, factory overheads. Insurance premium paid for factory building, it is again factory overheads. And insurance premium paid on stock of raw material and work in progress. Very important, guys. Insurance premium paid on stock of raw material and work in progress, it will form part of office overheads. Sorry, it will form part of factory overheads, a mistake from my end. Insurance premium paid on stock of raw material and work in progress, it will form part of factory overheads only. Now, next is expenses paid for quality control check activities. The name itself says quality control check activity. So it will form part of quality control cost. 1 second, there are a few queries. Let me check. No, power and fuel will go to direct cost. See, supervisors are based in factory, Naina. So supervisors generally do work in factory only. So that's why it will form part of factory overheads. Naina. Now the next point is salary paid to quality control staff. The name itself says it is quality control staff. So it will go under quality control cost. Research and development costs paid for improvement in production process. Again, the name itself is clear, research and development cost. So it will go under research and development cost. If you guys have any doubts till now, you guys can please post your queries. Waiting for your queries now. See, Pratidnya, डिफरेंस बिटवीन जॉब एंड फैक्ट्री वर्कर. सी जनरली क्या होता है कि कुछ काम जो है हम लोगों को आउटसोर्स करना पड़ता है. So we do appoint job workers for a particular job. So amount paid to them will form part of prime cost, or we can say the direct expenses. See, insurance premium for stock and stock on raw material and work in progress, more or less it is related to factory. So it will go. See, the units are manufactured in the factory, and for their protection or for their safety, we do take insurance. So generally, the insurance premium paid on raw material and work in progress will form part of factory overheads. Next point, where we were, 1 second. Yes. So expenses paid for pollution control and engineering and maintenance, again factory overheads. Expenses paid for administration of factory work. See, expenses paid for administration of factory work. So it is related to what? Administration overhead related to production. So this will go under the head administration overhead related to production, and it will form part of cost of production. Further, the salary paid to the production control manager, it will go again form part of administration overhead related to production. Finance and accounts, it will go under general administration overhead, and sales and marketing under selling and distribution overhead. Salary paid to the general manager, general administration overhead. When talking about the primary packing cost, it will form part of cost of production and it will be shown separately. And for redistribution of finished goods, again, as I discussed, it will form part of selling and distribution overheads. Now, the next point, interest and finance charges for use of non-equity fund. I've discussed this part clearly that it will be shown as a separate item, interest and finance charges, and it will come under cost of sales. Fees paid to auditor, legal advisor, independent director, all will form part of general administration overhead. Performance bonus paid to the sales staff, selling and distribution overhead. Further, the opening and closing stock details are given. The amount realized by selling of scrap and waste generated during manufacturing process, so it will be deducted while calculating cost of production. So this is all what about this question. Yeah, sometimes examiner do ask 1 or 2 tricky points that were there in this question. Rest the question is straight. So I request you guys, whatever the queries you have, you guys can please post your queries. I'm done with cost sheet. See, again, the items may vary from question to question, Shivam. So if you find any sort of difficulty, you can write it as a footnote. If you find any item as a bit confusing, you can write it as a footnote. Admin sir, can you please unmute Kinari?
Sir, I wanted to understand the difference between pollution control and quality control. How would we identify whether a particular would be pollution control or quality control? Because both are under different heads.
See, the quality control expenses are incurred to maintain the quality of the product. So it has nothing to do with pollution. Understand? To maintain the quality of the product, to maintain and manage the quality of the product. And pollution control equipment are generally installed in the factory. So whatever the expenses that are incurred relating to pollution control equipment, it will go under factory overheads.
Okay, got it. Thank
Do you
you.
have any other opinion where we will put pollution control, equipment related any, see, 1 second. The language was, 1 second, expenses paid for pollution control and engineering and maintenance. So you tell me, you have any other opinion that where we should place it?
Sir, I was confused whether actually I first thought that it would be the part of general administrative overhead.
No,
I
pollution control
was
equipments are installed in the factory. Office से उसका कोई लेना देना ही नहीं है. So since they are installed in the factory and we can't place it either in the under quality control or research and development, so straight away we will classify it under factory overheads only.
okay. Okay.
Perfect.
Yes, sir.
I think one more student's raised. It's the question, Rohan Sahu. Question can ask you anything. Redistribution means what? Basically, they are talking about the secondary packing cost. Anyone else with any other doubts or queries, guys?
Sir,
Your name?
good morning, sir. Sir Tanu.
Yeah, good morning, Tanu. Tell me, dear.
सर बट पॉल्यूशन कंट्रोल इक्विपमेंट का तो फैक्ट्री से कोई प्रोडक्शन से तो कोई कनेक्शन नहीं है, तो फिर
पोल्यूशन कंट्रोल इक्विपमेंट की जरूरत कहाँ पे पड़ती है? सी तनु, कई बार फैक्ट्री से बहुत ज्यादा पोल्यूशन जनरेट होता है. सो टू अवॉइड, जो स्मोक वगैरह जो भी जनरेट होता है या जो भी वेस्ट जनरेट होता है, सो उसको मैनेज करने के लिए जनरली कंपनीज डू इंस्टॉल पोल्यूशन कंट्रोल इक्विपमेंट, and these equipments are installed in the factory only. So if depreciation is given on pollution control equipments also, na, that will form part of factory overheads only.
ओके सर.
Right? And pollution कहाँ से generate होता है? Factory से ही generate होता है. जो waste generate होता है factory से, it creates either air pollution or water pollution, whatever it is. So to control it, generally they install few equipments. So whatever the maintenance cost that is incurred for these equipment, it will go under factory overheads.
सर तो अगर नॉइज कंट्रोल इक्विपमेंट अगर हमने
तो भी
ऑफिस
वो
में
फैक्ट्री ओवरहेड्स में ही जाएगा, क्योंकि ये सब जनरेट कहाँ से होता है? फैक्ट्री से ही जनरेट होता है ना.
ओके सर, थैंक यू सर.
एनीथिंग एल्स?
नो सर.
Okay. So guys, I'm done with this chapter. I tried my best to cover all the concepts in detail. I request you guys to revise what I have discussed in today's session and then try to solve as many as possible questions as you can. The questions are available in MTPs, RTPs, mock test papers, or past examination questions, 3 to 4 past examination questions. So you guys can refer all these questions. Still, if you find any sort of difficulty, you can write a mail to ICAI addressing my name. I'll be personally attending all your queries. Don't worry, I'm there till the last date of your exams. So don't worry. Whatever the doubts, whatever the queries you have, do write a mail. I'll be addressing all your queries. So again, the easy part is over now. From the coming session, I'll be taking process costing, wherein I'll be discussing many concepts, many questions. Process costing, service costing, standard costing, marginal costing. So these are the major chapter wherein I'll be discussing many concepts, many questions. I'll be asking you few questions also. So till cost sheet, prepare yourself for everything. Prepare all the chapters what I have discussed. I think there is a long gap between my lectures now, because after cost sheet, I'll be taking care of the process costing. So it's a long gap. So whatever the chapters I have discussed, be it material, be it activity-based costing, be it cost sheet, whatever the chapters I have discussed, solve the questions maximum as possible questions as you can from the available material. And if you have any queries, you guys can please post. And in the meanwhile, since it's a long break, I'll spare some time and will prepare the worksheets and we'll upload it over the portal. Don't worry. And the questions will be exam oriented only. So don't worry, I'll be uploading the questions soon for the chapters what I have discussed, and for the chapters I'll be discussing. So don't worry. Take care of yourself. God bless you. Work hard, study hard. There is no alternate of hard work. And again, I repeat, when talking about costing, it's all what about concepts rather than memorizing formulas. So focus on the concept. Try to solve as many as possible questions in writing. I assure you, you will surely score very good marks. In fact, in the previous attempts also, many of my students came in the session and said, I've scored 75, 80, 90, 95 also many students scored. So the key is the concept. Focus on the concept. Practice the questions in writing. No one can stop you from clearing CA. So thank you so much, guys. God bless you. Take care, and thank you so much for active participation in the session. Take care, guys. Admin sir? Yes, sir. Session over. Thank you.